Alrighty, last video of the day for you guys. So it cut me off before I got to write 2. I was scurrying, racing the time, but I didn't quite make it. So do always remember slope has to be simplified. 2 or 2 over 1 is appropriate, and I've programmed it into Alex to accept either one because they're the same thing. And some people always like slope written as a fraction since it represents rise over run. So that makes sense. So the last 2 pages are all a review, as this one was too. If you haven't already tried them, shut the video off just for 2 minutes and try those just to make sure you're on the right track and you're good with this before we move on to a new topic. Okay. So it's looking like more rise over run on this page. What were the directions on the other? Find the slope of each line. So we have, number 8 up here. So remember, job number 1 is to make sure that you find 2 points. Doesn't matter which 2 points, except they do have to be right on the corner of a square. So we call those vertices. So this would not be a good point. This wouldn't. But this one looks right on the vertices. This one looks right on the vertices. This one looks right on the vertices. So right on a corner. And you'll see it doesn't matter which 2 you use. Rise 3, run 1. Rise 3, run 1. Or you could do rise 6, run 2, and 6 over 2 is 3 over 1. So no matter which 2 you pick, which we've had a couple exercises on that already, so doesn't matter which 2 points because students get always nervous that they're going to pick the wrong 2 points. So starting with the left-hand point, it's rise 3, run 1. And if you had started with this point, you would have rose 3, ran 1, and got the exact same. And like I said, if you had picked those 2, it would have been 6 over 2, which simplifies to 3 over 1. So M equals rise over run, which equals 3 over 1, or 3. So I usually write both, and then that way I have my bases covered. So I like this because if I'm drawing a line, I like to know what the run is, but this is the pure simplified form. Okay, number 9. So no, 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 yes. So there's a point and here's a point. So none of the other ones are quite on a corner, not quite on a corner, not quite on a corner, not quite on a corner. So starting from our left-hand point and traveling right, and remember it's alphabetical order, we always rise first. Otherwise you'll get the reciprocal of the correct answer. And do you know what I just realized I did? I don't know if I did it on this last one. I did not follow I would get the same answer, but I was just looking at that going, oh, are these all by ones? And this one wasn't. When I looked back, look at 2, 4, negative 2, 2, 4. So this should have really been rise 6 and run 2, rise 2, 4, 6, and run 2. We get the same answer because the axes are labeled the same, but if they had not been labeled the same, we would not have. So M equals rise over run, which equals 6 over 2. And when we divide both of those by 2, we get 3 over 1, just like we had before. And like I said, that will always work as long as the axes are labeled the same. But if this one was labeled by 2s and this one by 1s, then we wouldn't get the right answer. So even though I knew the answer was going to be the same, I'm thinking, nope, I got to go back and redo that one because you have to count the units, because if they hadn't all been going by 2s, then we would have had the wrong answer. So 2, 4, 6, rise 6, run 2, divide both by 2, we get 3 over 1 or 3, just like we had before. So sorry about that. I'm not on my game, am I? I'll have to step it up. So this one also is going by twos, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. So I did recognize that one, and that's what alerted me to the last one. So starting with the left-hand point, rise 2, 4, 6, and run 2, 4, 6, 8. And I 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8. And I had a student today. I gave a test in my OA2 class, and she said, I typed in 6 8s, and Alex said I had to simplify it, and it counted it wrong. And I'm like, yeah, you do. All fractions have to be simplified. It is not, you can't get full credit. And when you're taking a test that's right or wrong, you got to make sure you do that simplify. So when you see two numbers that are both even, either type it in your calculator or simplify it by hand. And you all know how to simplify it on the calculator, right? Which I hope one that easy you wouldn't do, but I just want to make sure you all know it. 6 fraction bar 8, and then just hit enter, and your calculator simplifies it for you. But don't let your brain go to mush. Make sure you're still, working it. But I just want you to know if it had been big numbers, then you could have done it on the calculator. Yep. And notice this line's rising, and I had a positive slope. This line's rising from left to right, I had a positive slope. So you'll notice that. This line, on the other hand, is falling, so I bet we're going to get a negative answer here, aren't we? So first, I see everything's going by twos again. There's a point, no, no, yes. So M equals rise over run. And that would be, this time I'm going to be going down when I travel from left to right. So down 2, 4, 6. So negative 6 over run 2. So there's that negative we were expecting, right? So down 6. Always run forward, so your run will always be positive. It's only the rise that can be positive or negative. But again, we have two even numbers. So our simplified slope is negative 3 over 1 or negative 3. And like I said, I have it programmed into Alex to accept either one of those. Okay. So that's pretty easy stuff, right? A little review of what we did in Module 6. Okay, whoa, as if we haven't had enough practice, here's more. Okay, so let's zip through these. So let's first decide the signs. Falling, negative, right? Rising, positive. Falling, negative. Falling, negative. So 3 of the 4 here on this page should have negative answers. So let's make sure that's true when we go to do them. Okay, with number 11, we have to find 2 points that are exactly. So this one's not, this one's not, this one's not, but these 2 cross right on the corners. Now let's look at our intervals on the axes and make sure we don't make the mistake I made on the last page. So 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. So they're all going by twos. So to go from left to right, we go down 2 and run 2, 4, 6, 8. So negative 2 eighths. So down 2, but we run forward so we don't trip. So over 2, 4, 6, 8. So the negative only goes with the top number, telling me that we went down instead of up. Again, both evens. So that makes my simplified slope into negative 1/4. Okay, so let's do the second one on number 11. So we need 2 exact crossing points. I see 2 right there. This isn't, this isn't, this isn't. That's not, but it looks like that one probably would be. So to go from left to right, and oh, look at, we're back to ones now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So rise 1, 2, 3, and run 1. So M equals rise over run, which equals 3 over 1. So rise 3, run 1, or just 3. Okay, number 12. Here's an exact point. No, that looks exact. No, that looks exact. Back to ones again. So rise over run, starting with the left-hand point. Down 2 over 1. So it looks like negative. I have to write rise over run just because students miss it so often, the order. So if I figure if I write it enough, maybe it'll be stuck in your head. And it is alphabetical. So if you're ever asking, oh, which one's first? It's always the Y's, which is up and down, over the X's, which is left or right. So negative 2 over 1 or negative 2. And negative as predicted because the line is falling from left to right. And whoops, not up yet. I forgot we have one more. Let's switch colors. Black's getting boring here. Okay, so going by ones again, and woo, look at that. Slope of negative 1. M equals down 1 over 1. So negative 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, negative 1 over 1, or negative 1. So down 1 over 1. And then last, we're going to practice on some points. I know that you have had so much of that. All the word problems have had it, but this one has a lot of negatives in it, and that's when students tend to miss them. So this is good practice. Make sure you write your formula again a couple more times. So second y minus first y over second x minus first x. So 3 minus 4 over negative 1 minus 2. So 3 minus 4 is negative 1. And when the signs are the same, we add and keep the sign. So that would be negative 3. And this is what a lot of students do wrong on the test or have done in the past. They write that for the answer. That is not simplified. That's like leaving 5/10 as an answer. 2 negatives equal positive. And again, Alex will count it wrong. I'll count it wrong. You can't leave 2 negatives. 2 negatives are a positive. So your simplified answer would just be 1/3. So that's why I put these on the end, because they're kind of, I found some that students miss a lot. And I thought, ooh, that's a good one, because that double negative is something. Or some students will go, oh, double negative, I'm just going to turn it into a single negative. Can't do that either. So 2 negatives is a positive. Because if you wrote negative, that means the line's falling, but the correct answer is positive, which means the line is rising. Okay, last one. And then it's the weekend. So second y, 7, minus the first y, negative 2, over second x, 2, minus the first x, negative 4. So this one's missed a lot because students just will write one of the negatives. Well, this negative's from the formula, and this is a negative number. And this negative's from the formula, and then you're subtracting a negative number. So don't turn that into one negative. In fact, 2 negatives is a positive. So 7 minus negative 2, 2 minus negative 4. So both are going to turn into plus. So 9 over 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6. And again, not simple